Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name's Katie and this is Catherine the 19th, the channel where we love to talk all things travel and filmmaking. Today I want to share with you my best tips for planning a trip to a place that you've never been by showing you my process for planning my upcoming trip to Estonia, Latvia, Finland, and Sweden later this month. Honestly, normally I like to be a lot more prepared than this. In the past, I've planned out trips a lot more in advance than this one, but we are leaving in just under 2 weeks and we don't have Airbnbs booked. We have all of our flights booked, which is good because kind of the nature of our trip is a lot of short flights once we get there, going between places, but I haven't booked any accommodation. I know how I'm gonna do it, which I'm gonna share with you later. I just haven't yet. That being said, my first tip for you would be to start planning early. I like to be prepared and I think that, you know, there's only stuff to be gained from preparedness. But let's jump into the real tips. Step 1, start a Google Doc. This may be like a really nerdy tip, but when Dan and I plan trips, we like to be very organized. So we start a Google Doc where we write out our proposed itinerary. This is my Google Doc. It is full of Airbnb, potential places to stay, different hostels, different activities that we might want to do, and it's just day by day what we're gonna do. Obviously, when you're thinking about planning your trip, you're gonna have some dates in mind. It's great if you can be flexible because then you can choose the dates of your trip based on when the cheapest flights are. That's something that we took into consideration when we were looking at our trip, and so we're leaving on a Tuesday, which is when a lot of flights happen to be less expensive. You can also set up flight alerts so that you'll get emails to your phone when the price of the flight is the lowest that it's been. My third tip for you when it comes to planning your trip is to do a lot of research. I'm the kind of person, I maybe am over prepared when I travel, but I really want to have a good idea of what is in the place that I'm going to so that I don't miss out on any of the main attractions. So the way that I do this is watching YouTube videos. Literally, that's my #1 tip for you. You can look through Pinterest and blog posts, that stuff is useful as well. But my favorite thing to do, and maybe just because video is my, preferred medium of creation, but just go on YouTube and literally search like Sweden travel vlog or Stockholm travel vlog, and I found some really good information and tips by searching that, and you never know, you might find some cool new creators that you want to follow in the future. Aside from YouTube though, there's a cool feature on Google where you can just search literally things to do in Estonia or whatever, things to do in Riga, Latvia, and there's a tab that you can click on Google that is all travel suggestions that are kind of curated from different places on the web. It's sort of like the destinations version of Google Flights. Something to look into. That's probably gonna give you the most like typical tourist destinations, which you may not end up wanting to go to, but at least you'll know about them because it's important to be informed. All right, let's go out on the balcony. It's such a beautiful fall day out. It's very bright, it's very bright. In terms of accommodation, when you're traveling, I cannot recommend Airbnb enough. It's truly the best way, I think, to stay in a place that's really like integrated into a city and to kind of get to know what it would be like to live there. Honestly, the #1 reason why I prefer Airbnb over hotels is that Airbnbs almost always have a kitchen. One of the best ways to save money while you're traveling is to cook some of your meals because it gets really expensive to eat out for 3 meals a day. My recommendation would be to always eat breakfast at your Airbnb. I don't think there's any reason to buy breakfast out. Then typically what I have done when I've been traveling is have a big meal at lunch that's at a restaurant that you really want to go to, because obviously part of traveling is experiencing the local cuisine. And then for supper, have something that's smaller, just like back at your Airbnb. So we'll often make like spaghetti or something super easy. This usually works out pretty well because for me, if I'm leaving the house at like 8 a.m. and then I'm out wandering the city, seeing stuff, going to museums, whatever, all day, then by 6 o'clock, I'm ready to just go back and chill for a while before leaving and going to see more stuff again. So if you can end up only eating out 1 meal a day rather than 3, that's gonna save you a lot of money. Okay, here's a golden tip for you. This is like probably one of my favorite things to do, and I should start sharing them because I think they're super valuable. I love to create a personalized Google map for whatever city that I'm going to. So if you've never heard of this before, it's kind of like an obscure Google feature, I guess, but essentially what you can do is just search Google My Maps, and then it'll come up. You can click on that, and then you can create your own customized Google map of destinations. So once you have that opened up, you can go to a specific area and then just start searching for different places. So I'm currently working on one for when we're in Sweden, in Stockholm. And so the first thing I did was look up Arlanda Airport and label that on the map so I know where the airport is. It's way out of Stockholm, by the way, if you're wondering. It's like so far away. Then the next thing I look up is like, where is the main train station in Stockholm? Like, where is their like Grand Central Station, essentially, that the airport shuttle goes to? And then after that, I start looking up main like attractions that I want to go to. Like, where's the ABBA Museum? There's cathedrals and palaces that we want to visit, and I start labeling those. Then once I have a good sense of where all the different attractions we want to see are, then I start looking up restaurants in those areas. This might not be as common of a thing for everybody to do, but when we're traveling, especially traveling with Emily, I'm always looking for vegan restaurants so that I know we can find food that we can eat once we get there. Especially in different countries, you don't always know what the availability of vegan food is going to be, so it's good to do some research ahead of time. So far, from what I've seen, there's lots of good options in Stockholm, so that's exciting. And then I add the restaurants to the map, and then that kind of builds for me like a bit of a tour, or like we're actually knowing where specifically we're going to go. And then after I've done that, then I can kind of pick out different areas of the map of like, okay, day 1 we'll go here, day 2 we'll go there. One of the best things that you can do if you have access to this is reaching out to locals, because people who live there are always going to know the best destinations to hit up while you're traveling. In our case, it's asking Emily, who is currently living in Finland, what we're going to see when we go to Helsinki. And she's been to Estonia already, so what kind of cool things did she see there? So that's a really great resource if you can find that. Otherwise, it's always useful to just put it out on the internet and see if anybody else has traveled to those places and if they can give you suggestions. Speaking of that, if you've been to Sweden, Finland, Latvia, or Estonia, let me know in the comments below what things I should see while I'm there. Overall, I think having a successful trip is all about being the right amount of prepared. Like I was saying before, sometimes I think I can maybe over-prepare. Some people prefer more spontaneity when they're traveling, but for me, the reality is I go on shorter trips. I'm not the kind of person that is traveling for months at a time. We're gonna see 4 countries in like 12 days. So there are gonna be jam-packed days, and I wanna make sure that I get the most out of my short time in a new place. So when you only have a few days to see the highlights of a city that you've never been to, I think it's important to do some research ahead of time and figure out what the best things to see and do there are. Anyway, I hope these tips were helpful to you. I can't wait to share with you all our travels when we head to the Baltic Sea countries / Scandinavia tour that we're doing later this year. I'm hoping to continue to just make daily content while I'm there, because my favorite travel videos have always been the ones that I like edit while I'm still there. I mean, the Puerto Rico videos were great, but I feel like it kind of lost its touch when I let it sit for months without editing it. And my favorite videos are the New York and Montreal travel vlogs. So that's the kind of style that I want to do when we go to Finland. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful at all, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Again, comment below your suggestions for the places that we're going, or if you haven't been there, let me know cool places that you've and your best tips for planning your trip. Also, while you're down there, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And if you really don't want to miss any of my future videos, hit that little bell icon and you'll get a notification every time I upload. By the way, it's every day. Anyway, as always, I love you all. I hope you're following your dreams, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.